Hey everyone, welcome back to Grumpy Monkey Technical Trading. My name is Michael. I hope you're surviving the week so far. It's been a bit of a rough week with Greece, with China, with the fear of interest rate hikes. It's been a tough week on the market so far, so I hope you're hanging in there. That does present some buying opportunities, and that's going to be the subject of our show today. We did our first Banarama rally on Sunday, which had a lot of popularity. Thank you for watching that. In that show, we identified some stocks that presented potentially good buying opportunities, stocks that Cramer liked, stocks that the charts looked okay. So today we're going to take more of an in-depth look at those stocks and give you a detailed analysis. So stay tuned. All right, so why save the best for last? MGM, we saw it break out on Sunday out of this descending triangle pattern and head towards this resistance line. I indicated at that point that it would probably head back and test this support as it had just come out of it. If it can now rebound once it tests that support with a solid candle with solid volume, then that would be confirmation of the positive trend and a good opportunity to get into this stock. It is not a now stock. It is a stock to look into probably in a couple weeks as to what's happening, but it is an exciting opportunity to potentially be seeing a breakout from a descending pattern. So something to keep an eye on. All right, so Raytheon was another one that Cramer was quite high on. I didn't mind it. I thought it was in a nice positive trend, but I was of the opinion of, if it's so amazing, is this the best price I can get it at? Because I don't really think that the price that it was on Sunday or last week was the best price. I think it's coming down similarly, and that it's going to probably hit this red line, and that if you really believed in it, that would be a good opportunity to buy. You are in this sort of expanding triangle, as you can see illustrated by the blue line. So the expectation would be that at some point, probably in the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to make another touch on the top of the blue triangle. That's the trend. We're in a nicely sloping trend, so presumably it'll come up and it'll touch around here. So if you're waiting for a buying opportunity, I think you have maybe a little more to wait, another week or so, but there should be a good opportunity to capitalize if you like this stuff. So TASR, T-A-S-R, identified by Cramer as a good long term. I said it had hit an area of resistance and could be a decent reversal play at some point soon. When I looked at it quickly on Sunday, that is turning out not to be the case, as it plowed through that resistance line that was identified this week with the whole market downturn, so it's being dragged down by the market. But when I also look at all the different stochastics and different measures that we use for determining whether a stock, in particular one like this, which is really plunged, is due for a bit of a reversal, I don't see the exhaustion that I'm looking for in those metrics. I see some movement into oversold territory, but I don't see exhaustion. And exhaustion is what I want to see when it's plummeting that much. The RSI is low, I agree. However, when we draw some resistance lines or some support lines, we still have a little ways for the RSI to go. Stochastics are fully oversold. Completely agree with that. And even this little hook, which I love the hook, generally indicating that a reversal is pending, but I could see it still plummeting a little bit more. The CCI hasn't reversed. Usually when it's about to recover, it's headed in a positive direction. It's not still headed down. So this is a bad sign. When we look at the ultimate oscillator, which is what I like to consider more like a thorough RSI, we've actually broken a resistance line, or sorry, a support line down at the bottom. And the money flow index, which isn't showing for this week, but is already broken this line for last week, means that we're probably somewhere in this territory and due for continued fall. So I would stay away from TASR probably until it got into this 20 region. If we're looking at it long term, I would say that would be probably where it's going to head to. I would say that it may recover a little bit at the end of this week or early next week, but that it probably will head towards that line sooner rather than later. And I could give you pretty much the exact same speech about this one, Blackstone, BX. So again, really took a negative turn here this week. Cramer said he's all behind Blackstone. But I think if you're looking to get into it, you're much safer in the 33 region for almost all of the same reasons as TASR. Not oversold, still moving in a downwards trend, not recovered. When you look at it more intensely, you can see that this stock still has a little ways to go before it recovers, probably in a couple weeks' time. When we want to look into something that's getting really oversold, we can look at Enbridge, where the whole group of oil and gas has just been destroyed. So I mentioned this one on Sunday as well and said, hey, it's starting to head towards that oversold measure. So we can see that we have a couple support lines that it's heading and it's pinging off of. It does still look like it has a bit of a ways to go, but when we look at the metrics, now we can see what truly oversold looks like. So we have well below 30 in the RSI. We have stochastics that are headed down, probably another week, and then they're going to loop back. But here's something I really like, where it goes in, it comes out, and it goes in again. There's only so many times it can do that. So if you're into that second time, that's starting to indicate that, hey, we're getting really oversold here. The CCI, remember when I said, hey, it needs to start recovering to indicate that it is near the end. It is no longer catching a knife. We are trying to catch more of a stable upswing, or at least a stability period. You can see that here. You can see that the ultimate oscillator is also trickling back into oversold territory, and it was there before. So it is also hooking back in, indicating oversold. Money flow index with this week probably below 20, again oversold. So when you say, like, what does oversold mean? Those are the sorts of things that I'm looking at, not whether one metric is in the oversold territory. That's just one milestone. I'm looking at the whole picture and then comparing that against the support lines. So Enbridge is heading towards being oversold, which if you want an entry point into that industry, which I'm not necessarily sure I would recommend, even though I have a couple myself, now we're headed towards that opportunity. So Twitter, we didn't talk about it in the Banarama show, but there was another show on Sunday that talked about it. I've actually covered Twitter a few times now because I purchased it and follow it actively. I'd indicated that after this show, marked in red lines, that it would bounce around, and I was optimistic that at that point it would break out and head towards this major resistance line up top. Unfortunately, it did not. It followed the rest of the market down, and it has actually broken the lower support line today, which is quite concerning overall. And really, it'll need to recover tomorrow so that it ends the week above that support line. If not, then it could be in a bit of trouble, and I'll be looking to potentially get rid of it as part of a stop loss. But with that being said, when I look at it closer, I'm not super worried. It is headed, as it has been for a while, into oversold territory on the daily. It's already in oversold territory across a number of metrics in the weekly. I feel like this is just a temporary blip caused by just the overall malaise of the market, and I'm optimistic for the future. So concerning and definitely a little worrisome, but I'm not panicking yet. All right, that's our show for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the station, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.